It just amazes me how many companies don't have KPIs, or have KPIs that are just very old and outdated, or they have KPIs that they've just saturated their business with. They consider everything a KPI, and the downside of that is no one actually takes any notice of anything. And the ones that don't have any KPIs or metrics in their business will struggle to make good, solid decisions because they're not working from data, they're working from guesswork. And let's face it, guesswork's only going to get you so far. At some point, you actually need some data to say, this is why we made this change. The other good thing about KPI is that you can use them to measure change. And it's a really good indicator from we were doing this, we've made a change, and now we're using the same measurement process, and now we're getting a better result. So in that sense, they're actually really good. But I think there's a downside to KPIs. Either, like I just touched on before, it's either death by KPIs and no one takes any notice, or even worse, there's no KPIs and no one even knows what they are. But KPIs, in my experience, are always backward looking. You're looking at a result that's already passed. Now, you can't change the past. We hear that so many times. You can't change what's already happened, but I guess you can learn from that and make a change for the future. But in business nowadays, we can't afford to be making mistakes and only to go, now let's make a change. We have to get it right. Everything's so expensive, you cannot afford to be wasting materials. You definitely can't afford to be wasting labor in a business for a number of reasons. Won't get into them in this moment, but imagine if you could look forward instead of backwards. And that's where this whole key performance driver mentality is sitting. And it's actually quite a simple thing, because in lean manufacturing, we look at a thing like takt time as an example. And takt time is like the heartbeat of production. It's the speed something should happen at. And we can work those numbers backwards and say, for example, a customer wants 30,000 units of something and they want it by X time. We can do a really simple calculation and say, based on that and the number of hours that our plant is operating, this is the speed that we need to produce those items at. And so we can use that as a key performance driver and say, for example, our takt time should be 3 seconds because we produce a unit every 3 seconds or every 3 hours. And we can look at that and say, if we're producing that unit every 3 seconds or every 3 hours, we are going to absolutely smash our KPI. So jump forward even further. Why do we need to have a KPI then? If we were so looking forward and not backwards, we could say, we know what our result's going to be based on how we're actually monitoring our environment or our business or our service that we deliver. To me, that's quite a simple concept. But first of all, people need to understand, why do I actually need to measure something? And the golden thing of why you need to measure something is so you actually know where you're at. So in short, KPIs, great, encourage people to have them. It's a good vehicle to collect data and to help you make decisions, but they're also backwards looking. Key performance drivers, you're looking forward. And we're not going backwards. We want to be going forward. So we should be looking forward with everything that we do.